I keep saying it, but the more info we get about the attempted assassination of President Trump, the worse it gets for everybody involved. And today we have some more bombshell news to give you, in big part thanks to Josh Hawley, who seemingly has whistleblowers calling his office every single day. And thankfully, people are standing up because they really don't want to see this happen again. Not only am I going to tell you about that, but there's another little jewel that I found out today that may really surprise you, or maybe it won't surprise you. I guess at this point, whatever your opinion is, make sure you leave it down below after the video. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go and jump right in. So CSD, or the Counter Surveillance Division, are the ones that go in to a particular site once that rally has been chosen, and they will look at the plan, and they're looking for holes in that plan. So essentially, line of sight, right? This is really important for anybody that's in law enforcement, and particularly snipers, right? So if I have two counter snipers behind Trump, one at the north, one at the south side, and then, we have local law enforcement, let's say at the AGR building, we're looking at the perimeter, outside of the perimeter, and just make sure that everywhere there could be a potential threat, we're going to make sure that those gaps are filled and that we have the best line of sight possible. Well, counter surveillance didn't do that at the Butler, PA rally, and nor were they there the day of the rally. Now, these guys, I would assume, are going to be the ones that, along with doing all of that, they're going to maybe talk to neighbors. Maybe let neighbors know what's going on. I don't know how that process actually works. You're not going to kick people out of their home because they live close to a site, but you probably want to know or let them know, hey, we're going to be here on this day, just a heads up. Now, I reported this, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, that none of the people that lived in that area were ever confronted by Secret Service at all. Now, unlike the Secret Service and the rest of the government agencies, real Americans like me and you actually have to consider a budget when we want to buy something additional. And so that's why I've set up, not only on this channel, but my other channel, the chance for y'all to win a 2025 Indian Scout Bobber. And the entry to get into this is less than what it takes for a family of 4 to get full meals at McDonald's. And the best part about our giveaways is we keep the pool of entry small and the time frame small. So you may see other bike giveaways, car giveaways, all that kind of stuff, where there's thousands and thousands of entries. Ours, a lot of the time, is less than 500 entries, which gives you the best possible chance of winning something really awesome. The bike, transportation, everything is on us. All you got to do is get on the bike and ride. The way you enter, click the link in the description of this video. It's the only link down there. Sign up to Headshot Nation. Headshot Nation is where I put all of my videos in my catalog on my own platform, so that way if YouTube decides to pull the plug on the gun channel, I know that we will keep this thing going because we're going to have you right there the whole time. And in exchange for signing up to Headshot Nation, you get early access, exclusive videos. There's going to be courses coming to this. You can ask questions. You can do video requests as well. So instead of maybe some of your comments getting lost in the YouTube comment section, this is a place where all of us can really connect. And that's it. So click the link in the description. You got to enter by September 30th at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time for your chance to win a 2025 Indian Scout Bobber. Big thanks to every single one of you, and good luck. Now, this is coming from whistleblowers, okay? So these are allegations at this point. Seems like Josh Hawley has been pretty much on top of this stuff. And so the whistleblower also said that acting director Ron Rowe has actually made cuts to the CSD division, including manpower cuts up to 20%. Not only that, there's been Secret Service personnel that have brought up specific issues like, hey, we're not utilizing local law enforcement as much as we should be, and that some of those agents that have actually brought up these concerns have been reprimanded. Now, of course, Josh Hawley asked for any employee that's brought up any kind of security concerns and anybody that's had suspensions or been reprimanded because of that. But that's a pretty significant piece of information. If you're making cuts to the organization, it kind of goes against what Kim Cheetah was saying and needing another 1,500 agents to actually fill in those roles. Not necessarily for CSD, but it doesn't make a lot of sense that you would cut CSD, especially considering your budget has gone up so much. Remember, I talked about the budget just a couple of days ago and how they don't need more money, they need better management. But that's just another piece of it that if you're hearing this, you're probably like, dude, that's crazy. That CSD never went in, nor were they there the day at the Trump rally. That's a big reason. That's a huge reason why Trump got shot right there. Not only that, this is the first time counter snipers have been to a Trump rally all year long. So you've had Trump going out there for 6 months now, right? Over 6 months. And he's the leading Republican candidate, right? He's going to be the nominee. Everybody knows that. And he's gone out there without any counter sniper team at all until July 13th. Thankfully, they were there. They're highly trained guys, you know, and they took that one shot that was able to incapacitate the shooter. And fortunately, they were there. But it's just crazy to think that that was the first rally they had attended all year long. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, maybe this will. Because whistleblowers are now saying that most of the agents that were at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, weren't even Secret Service. They were Department of Homeland Security, most of which had never worked a rally before. Not only that, they weren't checking IDs to come into secure areas. So when I hear Josh Hawley talking to Jesse Waters about this, I'm like, dude, there's no way. There's no freaking way that all of this is true, right? Because when you look at all of the screw ups that have happened and how, you know, it's like there's so many screw ups, it doesn't even seem like it's a coincidence, right? It's like there's just so much going on. That's why you have people believing, like truly believing, that this entire thing was an inside job, and you can understand why. I mean, I think most people would understand that, like, and even I'm still skeptical at this entire situation, because it's like, just like with James Copenhaver, when his footage came out of the shooter running across the roof, and they're like, well, yeah, you know, we didn't see him, you know, or we didn't know he had a gun. Well, maybe that's true. They didn't know he had a gun, but they see this guy running across the roof. We've talked about the communication issues, right? There was nobody from Secret Service in the command center along with local PD or local law enforcement, right? So they just kind of isolated themselves. I've talked about FirstNet and having specific lines of communication for law enforcement, and yet where was that technology? Also, Trump's team actually had a concern about the woman that was in charge of the Butler, PA site. Now, he didn't go too much into detail about what their concerns were, but it sounds like the Trump security detail actually has had maybe some lapses from previous rallies in security, maybe some other events, maybe some close calls that we never even heard about. And that's something I would love to know. How many close calls have there actually been that none of us heard about at all? And to think that that person is still out there, they haven't been fired, right? Roe already admitted to that. He was going to make sure he didn't, you know, jump in, and I don't know what his exact words were, but they were something to the extent of, you know, we don't want to jump to conclusions, essentially. Even though a man was killed, President Trump was shot, and 2 others were critically injured, we don't want to jump to conclusions here. We don't want to say that we screwed up. But again, every time whistleblowers come forward, new video evidence comes forward, it answers some questions, it leaves a lot on the table, but it's starting to become so clear to me that this organization needs a change from the inside out. They need to be stripped from the top down, whether they need to move from DHS back to the Treasury Department or whatever. I'm not sure what needs to happen there. But that was another interesting thing that I found out, is Kim Cheadle actually tried to hide the cocaine evidence that was found at the White House last summer. Think about that. So obviously Kim Cheadle was really close with Jill Biden. She worked as Biden's detail when he was the VP. She started under Clinton, right? And so she had a really close relationship with the Bidens. Now remember, she was at PepsiCo. She had spent 27 years with the Secret Service, mind you, all right, to be fair, but then she went to PepsiCo. She was making $1.2 million a year at Pepsi. Then she comes back to the Secret Service making like a quarter of that. I'm not sure how many people would actually be willing to do that. Maybe she's just that noble, but the more information that comes out about her, I really start to doubt that. Regardless, when that cocaine was found in the White House. A lot of people speculated, hey, that's probably Hunter's, because they had had some gatherings there before, in the days leading up to when it was found. I think it was found in the West Wing, actually. And there was a hit of DNA that was found on it. So, like, I guess a partial DNA from the pool of people that were there, or that were, I guess, suspects or could have, been in control of the cocaine. There was a hit, but she asked the forensics unit of the Secret Service to destroy the evidence. We just kind of want to move past it. Well, fortunately, forensics said, no, we're not going to do that. We actually have to keep this evidence for 7 years. This is the kind of person that was running the Secret Service. This is the same person that talked about DEI, and, it's just it's an absolute nightmare to think that the best of the best, and there's a lot of great people in the Secret Service, just like law enforcement, but when the top person is that corrupt that they're willing to try to throw or destroy evidence for something like that, that's it's pretty disgraceful for sure. And so thankfully she's out. I'm not sure how long Roe will actually be there, though. I know a new director really has to be appointed, but I don't know that I trust Roe so much in this situation either. He was more forthcoming, but I think he saw what happened to Cheadle and how she would basically give it a bunch of non-answers, and she was out the next day. I'm not sure that I believe him so much either, to be quite honest with you, but we'll just have to kind of see how this plays out. Some pretty crazy information that has come out, and again, a lot of it's allegations. A lot of it is not necessarily 100% true, but these whistleblowers, they come forward, they give information, and again, we've gotten a lot of good information from them. So that's my opinion, man. I think it's actually starting to get maybe a little clearer, but tomorrow something could come out and leave 100 more questions. We'll just have to see. But if you want to continue to keep up with this, you know where to come, because I'm going to keep covering it and try to keep exposing this thing and bringing out the truth. Big thanks to you guys. Of course, leave me your opinion down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, hold it down.